everybody. My name is Brad Clayton, and I'm a Watershed Conservationist with the Watershed Foundation. I'd like to wish you all a very happy National Pollinator Week here from the Watershed Foundation. Today, we're going to be talking about mason bees. Mason bees do more pollinating than a honeybee ever thought of. However, honeybees get all the attention because of the amount of money that is made in honey, but really, mason bees is where it's at. So come along and let's learn a little bit more about the mason bee.
Mason bees are native to North America, where honeybees actually came across from Europe and Asia. Mason bees are also a solitary bee, meaning that they live and work alone, and they also have different ways of living compared to a honeybee that has a hive and they all live together. One mason bee can pollinate as much as 100 honeybees, so mason bees get around and they do a lot of work. One mason bee can visit up to 2,000 flowers in a day, and it only takes about 400 mason bees to do the work of 40,000 honeybees. Because of this, farmers release over 1,000 mason bees per acre to pollinate their crops per year, depending on different areas of the country. One of the big things about mason bees is they don't produce honey, but they will just take in a lot of pollen. And what they do is they belly flop onto the flowers and essentially cover themselves all over in pollen so their entire body will be yellow. If you've ever seen them in your garden, you will see them and they are quite bright just because of all the pollen that they collect. They can fly in 50-degree weather and they stay close by in a radius of 300 feet, meaning they don't travel very far, but they hit a lot of plants in a small amount of area. They also pollinate 95% of all the flowers that they land on, which is an outstanding number. Honeybees, on the other hand, only pollinate 5% of the flowers that they land on, and they're very picky on what they do land on and what they do gather pollen from. Honeybees also won't start flying until weather hits 65 degrees, and they travel very long distances to collect pollen because, again, they are extremely picky about where they collect their pollen from. Since mason bees are native to our area, most likely you already have mason bees in your garden. However, if you would like to attract more to bring more in to get better pollination, we can also do that too, through the use of mason bee houses. Here's a few examples of some of the mason bee houses that you can purchase that have these little cardboard tubes that they put their nests in. We'll see some more of that here in a little bit. You can also take a wood block or a wood stump and drill holes in it about 1/4 of an inch in diameter and about 4 inches long that they can naturally go into. If any of you have any wood piles at home, you most likely have seen these little holes or in the nooks and crannies between the different logs in your wood pile. As you can see in this photo here, we also can see them starting to hatch out of their little tubes in the spring. What they'll do is they will overwinter in these tubes, and then in the springtime they will start coming out, or in this case they are going back in for the winter, putting in their larvae and getting their nest set up. Here's a cross section of a mason bee tube. So as you can see here, we've got the little larvae there in the middle. That's the little white looking thing. And then what they do is they will separate those areas with mud, and they will also have areas of pollen in there. So when that larvae hatches, it's got food to start getting big, start getting the energy it needs to grow, so that then when they fly out of the nest, they have everything they need and the life cycle continues. Another interesting fact about the cross section here is usually the female bees are usually put toward the back of the tube, and the male bees are usually toward the front. That is so that they have a better way of protecting the female bees, which lays the larvae for the next year. Mason bee houses are a great way, as I said, to increase those mason bees into your garden. After you get one, after you purchase one or after you make your own, the best thing to do is to put it in the middle of your garden and make sure it is no more than 4 to 7 feet off the ground. Any more than that and they won't fly to it, because they tend to be a little short, fat, stubby bee, and quite frankly, anything over 7 feet they have a hard time flying to.
That concludes our little thing about mason bees. If you would like to learn more, please go to pollinator.org or watershedfoundation.org, and we'll be glad to help you out. Thank you, and have a great pollinator week.